Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Devin Kanaz. I am the publisher of Travelweek. Every week we bring you Travelweek webinars to, help you get educated on all the amazing travel product out there so you can sell amazing trips to your clients. Today we have a special guest from AAT Kings Guided Tours. So we'll get to that in a second. I just want to let you know that there is a prize and you have to stay till the end, and then we're going to draw the prize live actually. So one lucky winner will win a $50 gift card. So stay until the end. And also please note that you can put your questions in the Q&A box, and then at the end, we're going to address all of them. So I would like to introduce Margot Windenburg. She is the Senior Sales Manager, North America for AAT Kings. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Devin. I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, why don't you tell us about your product? I'm not sure how much travel agents in Canada know about it, so we'd be delighted to hear.
Excellent. I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here and I'll get started. There we go. All right. And you all can see that.
Yes.
Perfect. Then let me go ahead here. All right. Okay. So, as Devin said, I'm Margot. I'm with AAT Kings. And I'm the senior sales manager here for North America. And my background is all Australia and New Zealand travel. So for over 20 years, I've basically been working in the Australia and New Zealand travel tour industry. I've been with AAT Kings for 8 years. Prior to that, I was in a wholesale role for 11 years with the Australia New Zealand wholesaler, and then also in the retail side with an agency that solely focused on Australia and New Zealand. So a long background there in these destinations, and I'm well traveled in both of them, and can always answer all of your questions about anything that you may have for these destinations. So for those of you who may not be familiar with AAT Kings, or maybe just need a refresher because you haven't seen us in a while, AAT Kings, we are the largest tour operator in Australia and New Zealand. And under our brand, there are a couple of other brands that I'm going to touch on. So today in this presentation, I'm just going to be focusing on AAT Kings and Inspiring Journeys. And then you see two other brands here called See It and Down Under Tours. So both of those are day tour operators in Australia. See It focuses on some small group touring in the red center of Australia. Down Under Tours, they focus on touring into those rainforest regions up in tropical North Queensland, like Kuranda and Cape Tribulation. But today, for my presentation, we're just going to be talking about AAT Kings and Inspiring Journeys. And so AAT Kings, as I mentioned, we have those brands under our umbrella, but AAT Kings is actually a part of the Travel Corporation. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with brands like Trafalgar, Insight Vacations, Uniworld Cruises. We're in that same family of brands, but we only operate touring in Australia and New Zealand. And we operate over 100 tours in Australia and New Zealand. We have a huge range of touring there, and our brand has also been around for over 100 years. So this is an image here of a man named Bill King. And Bill King, he had a company called Bill King's Northern Safaris up in the Northern Territory of Australia. So way back in the early 1900s, there was the Pike family in Sydney who started operating tours in Sydney in a 7-seater vehicle. And then in the 1980s, Bill King and AAT partnered up and it became AAT Kings. So this brand has a very rich and long history within these destinations. I think one of the things that really sets our tours apart from our competitors are our people and really our tour directors. Our tour directors are all local from the destinations. We do have a lot of Indigenous tour directors as well. And we get amazing feedback about our tour directors. Another thing too is that with them all being local, many of them have been with us for decades, and our tour directors are also employees of our brand. And I think that is something that really sets us apart from some of the larger tour operators who are contracting guides out. Our tour directors are employees of AAT Kings, and they work for our brand. So for now, right now we're going to meet Marty, and he's one of our most popular tour directors in New Zealand.
The thing I most enjoy sharing with the AAT Kings guests is my Maori culture. Having a word of the day, sharing that with them, getting them to pronounce the Maori words. I feel their emotions when we go to a Maori concert and they hear the beautiful harmonies and singing. It really brings them into the culture as well, and we feel like a part of our whānau or family.
And so for AAT Kings, the journey matters just as much as the destination. And because of this, we strive to make every single minute of your client's journey a true experience. And we do it with people that really know their stuff, like Marty and our 100 years of experience. AAT Kings touring is broken out into 3 different categories. And so this is our guided holidays, our short breaks, and our day tours. And so our guided holidays, these are multi-day tours with a set departure date, traveling in groups on coaches. And we have 2 different categories there, which I'll get into. We then have our short breaks. Our short breaks are independent modules. They're 3 to 5 days in length. And our short breaks, we operate in the Northern Territory and in Cairns. And then we have a huge range of day tours, both in the Northern Territory, in the Red Center, in the top end, and then up in Cairns as well. And so I mentioned our guided touring is broken out into 2 different categories. So if you're looking at our guided vacations on aatkings.com, you'll see them labeled as either first choice or best buys. And so to start with first choice, when you see them labeled as first choice, these tours, these are fantastic for your guests who want everything included. They want the majority of breakfast is included every day on all of our tours, our guided touring and our short breaks. But then on our first choice, we have a lot of the additional meals that are included as well, lunches and dinners. And there's more 2-night stays with later starts on our first choice tours. And a big difference here is that first choice tours include airport transfers, arrival and return airport transfers. With any of our guided vacations or short breaks, we can also book pre and post accommodation for you as well. And so first choice, these are great for your guests who may be a little intimidated to travel overseas, may not have traveled as much. They're good for somebody who just wants everything laid out and done for them. They don't want to have to think about anything along the way. These are great guests for our first choice guided vacations. We then have our best buys. And so these are fantastic for your guests who maybe they want more independence while they travel. They want more freedom to explore on their own. They want more free time. So basically the best buys, these have really excellent price points. They do have earlier starts to maximize the days. They do have more 1-night stays. They go to a lot more destinations, particularly in New Zealand. And breakfast is included every day. And these do not include airport transfers. We include on our Best Buys, we include the excursions to the iconic sites. And then there's more free time and freedom to explore. We offer a lot of optional excursions along the way for the guests to choose from while they're traveling. So more of a choose your own adventure type holiday. I always recommend these for guests traveling to New Zealand or Tasmania. Sometimes people see those as self-drive destinations, but our Best Buys are a really great way and alternative to self-driving, where they're going to get a lot more out of the experience because they have that travel director with them who knows so much about the region. So first choice, great for people who want everything included. And then our Best Buys, great for people who want a little bit more independence and freedom and choices along the way in the touring that they do. When you're looking at our guided vacations, you'll see there's quite a few that are really great for a first-time traveler from Canada to Australia or New Zealand, and we refer to these as our fly-arounds. And so our fly-arounds include all of the internal air, so all of your air within Australia and between Australia and New Zealand, if it's a dual country itinerary, that air is all included, which makes it really great for you because you don't have to deal with the cancellations and schedule changes and things like that on that internal air. We take care of all of that for you. And so we have quite a few of these flight arounds. They are thoughtfully designed by our product teams in Australia and New Zealand. They make changes to these every year to keep up with the times. And they're really fantastic tours. I really encourage you to check them out, particularly the highlights of Australia and New Zealand. That's a 21-day tour. It's always been one of our most popular tours from North America. It really covers all of the highlights that a first-time traveler, this is their bucket list trip, and that's what they will see, everything that they want to see on highlights of Australia and New Zealand. You then have other tours like Australian highlights. If somebody just wants to see Australia and they just want to see all those highlights, that tour, it goes from Melbourne to the Red Centre, Sydney, and to Cairns. So covering all of those highlight destinations of Australia. We then have shorter duration tours for somebody who's more limited on time that really covers all those highlights, but in a shorter duration. So these fly arounds are great for somebody who wants a tour for the entire duration of their trip in Australia or New Zealand or both, and they really want to cover all of the highlights. Now, while a lot of people, if you are familiar with AAT Kings, a lot of people, I think, when they are familiar with us, they think about us as a national tour operator, that their guests, when they're traveling to Australia and New Zealand, are restricted to a tour for the entire duration of our trip. And while we do have our fly arounds, and they are excellent for that type of traveler, we have a lot of more regional tours in New Zealand and in Australia that are short duration and really just focus on one part of those destinations. So for example, we have these tours in New Zealand that are 7, 8, 9 days. Southern Spotlight and Southern Wonders. These are two of our most popular tours right now. People are really interested in seeing the South Island of New Zealand. Those two tours are just of that area. So these are great to attach on as a pre or post cruise excursions if the dates line up, if they want to see some of these, some of the land in Australia and New Zealand, not just do it by cruise, they want to extend their trip. Some of these more regional tours that really just focus on one small area are great. Or if you're putting together an FIT itinerary, I think that some of these regional tours work really well in conjunction with an FIT and with a customized itinerary. You can plan the FIT around departure dates for some of these shorter duration tours, do your customized portions, and then also really highlight one area such as Tasmania, which I'll get into with the regional tours there. So Te Puia, we're talking about New Zealand, and Te Puia is one of the most popular places that we visit in New Zealand. We include this in the majority of our touring that goes to the North Island of New Zealand. This is the cultural capital of New Zealand is in this region of Rotorua. And so whether it's bubbling mud from below or the dramatic geysers shooting water and stream into the sky, this place is uniquely beautiful, but also has embedded stories which you'll discover. You'll be welcomed at the meeting house Te Aranui Arua, learning more about this culture, the poi, and the haka traditions. So here's a look at that. And Te Puia Thermal Reserve ensures the future of its culturally significant Maori Arts and Crafts Institute. So you'll explore Te Puia's geothermal valley and learn more about Maori history and culture on this guided experience, which includes a dinner of Hangi-inspired cuisine and a cultural performance in the finely carved meeting house called Te Aranui Arua. And it ends on a high at the Pohutu Geyser, where armed with a hot chocolate, you'll view one of New Zealand's geothermal wonderlands. And this is one of our Make Travel Matter experiences. And then to talk about some of those more regional tours, those shorter duration tours in Australia. I mentioned Tasmania. Our tours are a really fantastic way to see Tasmania. And if you have somebody who wants to travel there, we have several tours, anywhere from 5 to 13 days in Tasmania, actually. But I think that these ones that I've highlighted here work really well in a North American traveler's itinerary. These Tassie's Parks and Nature, Tassie's Wilderness Icons, Tassie Getaway, and Tassie's East Coast Highlights. That 5-day one in particular, that works really well in an FIT. So you have your FIT to Sydney, the Red Center, Cairns, and then sometimes people also want to visit Tasmania. You can plan it around the departure day for that Tasmania trip and then include all the customized portions around it. Another one that's really popular right now is the Great Ocean Road and Kangaroo Island Escape. That's a 7-day trip that goes between Melbourne and Adelaide, and it goes along the Great Ocean Road. It goes to Kangaroo Island for an overnight and then goes up to Adelaide. And then just to look at one of our Australia experiences that you can add on to any of our day touring or any of our sunset tours at Uluru, or on to any of our guided holidays that go into the Red Center of Australia. AAT Kings has an Outback barbecue that's absolutely fantastic. So it's sunset with wine, good conversation, and of course, Uluru in full view. Opportunities like this are one in a million, similar to the stars shining up above as you enjoy an Outback barbecue in a casual atmosphere. And so as Uluru's shadow fades away, leaving only a dark silhouette, you'll discover the Milky Way and the constellations of the desert sky. And here's a look at that. And this exclusive barbecue dinner, it's so close to Uluru, you can almost touch it. And it's the only one of its kind that's set under the rock's towering shadow and within the national park itself. You'll relax and enjoy sparkling wine on arrival and dine on a variety of meats and a selection of freshly prepared salads, followed by a tasty dessert. Such a fantastic add-on to any of our Red Center touring. I highly recommend it, and it's really well priced as well. And then earlier, when I was talking about our fly-arounds, one of the ones that was mentioned there was Australia Culture and Aboriginal Highlights. This is a 13-day guided vacation. I really like to highlight this one. This tour was introduced in 2024 to our portfolio of fly-arounds, and it's an immersive Aboriginal cultural tour that includes all of Australia's highlights. So what's unique about this tour is that we, AAT Kings, in conjunction with Tourism Australia, developed this tour, and we worked with 14 Aboriginal owned and operated small tour operators for all of the experiences that are included on this tour. So this is one of those first choice tours that I mentioned. So the majority of the experiences, pretty much all of them, are all included, and they're all Aboriginal focused. Even the Great Barrier Reef Cruise is Aboriginal owned and operated. So this is such a cool tour. If you're looking for a tour where somebody is really wanting some off the beaten path experiences and they really want to understand the rich culture and heritage of Australia, this is the tour for them. I highly recommend you check it out. And again, all of those internal flights are included in the cost of the tour. Another tour that we're offering, this is, and one that I like to highlight, this is actually the former one. We actually just changed this tour this year. It replaced a tour called East Coast Islands and Rainforest. If you have guests who are really interested in seeing the East Coast of Australia and experience some of the Great Barrier Reef Islands and the Whitsunday Islands in Australia, this is a great tour for them. So this is a 10-day tour. It starts out in the Gold Coast, so guests can fly into Brisbane, and then they'll just need a transfer up to the Gold Coast. This is one of those Best Buys, so there's no airport transfers. So they'll just want to make their way to the Gold Coast, where they'll be for 2 nights, and then flying up to Airlie Beach for 2 nights, visiting the Whitsunday Islands. So they'll have the opportunity to go out to Hamilton Island while they're in Airlie Beach for the day. And then the tour travels up to Magnetic Island, which is a fantastic it's an eco resort that we stay in there. And on the full day that we're there, we do a eco cruise that travels around, circumnavigates Magnetic Island. And if the opportunity is there, we don't advertise it, but it is the home to the largest koala hospital in Australia. So if it's available to us, we will take the tour group to into the hospital to see the koalas that are there. And then it goes on to Cairns for 3 nights, where we include a Great Barrier Reef cruise, a full day Great Barrier Reef cruise. And then as an optional excursions, guests do have the opportunity to go visit Kuranda. So that's a rainforest village. You go up the side of the mountain by an old steam train, visit the Aboriginal village of Kuranda for a few hours, and then come back down over the canopy of the rainforest on Sky Rail. So this is one of those Best Buys. It has a fantastic price point as well. And then a tour that I really like to touch on is our Kiora New Zealand. If you have guests who are just looking for a strictly New Zealand tour, this is a 17-day guided vacation. This is in our Best Buys category. So this has a fantastic price point. Again, really great value for money on this one. And if your guests don't have 17 days, we have about 12 tours in our Best Buys category that are just of New Zealand, and really fantastic price points. And they go anywhere from 8 days to 21 days. So as you can see, this tour covers all of the highlights of both the North and the South Island. It even goes up to the Bay of Island, which is at the very top of the North Island of New Zealand. It goes down into Wellington, the capital of New Zealand. You cross by the Inner Islander ferry and then travel down and circumnavigate the South Island as well. So super good price point on this, and a really great extensive tour of New Zealand. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about our short breaks. So I mentioned these at the very beginning. These short breaks, these are mini but mighty adventures. And so on our short breaks, your clients are guided through each day by our attentive regional experts, and they'll interact with a new group of fellow independent travelers each day. And some regions offer the flexibility for your clients to choose their preferred level of accommodation and dining options. And so these mini getaways are ideal for travelers that are short on time, or for families who want to see the sights and have family time. These short breaks, they're independent modules, so they have no set departure date. They may have set departure days of the week. And so these, again, these are operated in the red center of Australia, in the top end of Australia around Darwin, and in Cairns. And so if you, let's say right now it's wave season. So let's say you're putting together a cruise to Australia. The guests have 4 days and they want to do something by land while they're in Australia. We have a 4-day Cairns short break. If you're on our website, aatkings.com, you're looking at our tours, you'll see short breaks. Check those out. There's a Cairns short break that's 4 days, perfect to add on to a pre or post cruise excursion. It includes 3 nights of hotel, a full day Great Barrier Reef cruise, and a full day Kuranda day tour. And then again, we can add on any pre or post accommodation that the guests might need. We also have 2 short breaks that we launched last year. If you have a guest who's looking to experience all of the red center of Australia, so that includes Ayers Rock, Alice Springs, and Kings Canyon, these are the best way to organize that and see them. We have a 3 and a 4 day short break that covers that entire region of Australia. The transportation between those regions, it's very sparse. It's kind of hard to try to manage that all if you're trying to do it yourself. We make it really easy with these 2 short breaks that are really great. And so on these, the 4-day short break, you'll witness the breathtaking sunset at Uluru while indulging in sparkling wine, followed by a captivating sunrise experience at Katajuda. Traverse the stunning valleys and canyons as guests uncover the geological marvels, rich history, and cultural significance of the region. And then I mentioned that we operate a lot of day tours, and our day tours are really, they ignore that part with Sydney and Melbourne highlighted, but our day tours are just in the Northern Territory and in Cairns. And so primarily in the Northern Territory, if you were ever in the Northern Territory of Australia, you'll see AAT Kings coaches everywhere. And there's 2 day tours that I'd like to highlight. Again, if you're putting together an FIT, these are fantastic to include in Uluru. So we have the Uluru Sunrise and Cultural Experience Day Tour. Approximately 900 Ananu artists, and the Ananu are the people around of Uluru, the Aboriginal people. They make up a collective that is called Maruku Arts. And so you'll join them, learn about their world-renowned craft, and understand the deep and spiritual connection that they have with the land. Create a masterpiece of your own using their storytelling techniques on this Make Travel Matter experience, which supports Maruku arts in preserving and protecting their traditions. And then one of my absolute favorites is Uluru Sunrise Field of Light. You may have heard of Field of Light. It's an art installation at Uluru. AAT Kings is the exclusive operator of the sunrise experience at Uluru at Field of Light. And so this is an art installation by internationally acclaimed artist Bruce Monroe, who's noted for his immersive site-specific installations that employ light to evoke emotional response, often in an outdoor context and on a monumental scale. And the Field of Light was inspired by a trip to Uluru over 30 years ago. It's installed in a remote desert area within sight of majestic Uluru and is made up of more than 50,000 slender solar-powered stems crowned with radiant frosted glass spheres. And so as you go out into the Field of Light, we get there about an hour and a half before sunrise. There's all these pathways within the Field of Light. And so guests, they go walk about on their own on these pathways in the Field of Light, and the lights change colors, and it's designed for the lights to change colors and mimic the way the sun rises and sunsets against Uluru. It's a really cool experience, and if you have any guests that are traveling to Uluru, I highly recommend you include this half-day tour and sunrise experience. And so next, what would coach touring be without coaches? And so we're going to take a look at some of our coaches. We have top of the line coaches in Australia, and this is our CEO, Ben Hall. Okay, here we go.
G'day listeners, how you doing? It's Ben Hall, CEO of AAT Kings Group, talking to you today from our Sydney depot, and I've got these two magnificent coaches behind me, which is part of our almost 100 vehicles in the fleet, and today's episode is all about our coaches. You know, we own, we operate and we maintain our fleet across our various depots. We've got 5 depots: Sydney, Cairns, Darwin, Alice Springs and Uluru. And we've got 12 mechanics across those 5 depots that maintain and look after that fleet and service them on a regular basis. So they continue to be Australia's leading fleet of vehicles out on the road. So not only today we're going to be talking about the vehicles, but we are going to take you inside. But before I do that, I want to talk about these vehicles. They are manufactured in Australia. Okay, so it's unique to us, manufactured in Australia. They're designed with all the features that we require to ensure not only our staff, but our guests have a wonderful, comfortable ride. They are low emissions, Euro 5, Euro 6 vehicles. So, of course, the latest state-of-the-art chassis that ensure that we minimise our carbon footprint. And, of course, they are state-of-the-art, wonderful viewing, great big windows, and they're part of, I said, the larger fleet, which is almost 100. It has smaller vehicles and mid-sized vehicles, but our larger vehicles, obviously, the bulk of it and what we're mainly known for. So how about you follow me? Let's go inside. We can check out the comfort inside. Great, now we're inside the vehicle. You can get a sense of what it's about. Lovely huge windows, which allows for great viewing. Lovely leather seats, very comfortable that do recline, but also some incredibly important features, such as the seatbelt, okay? So these seatbelts are unique in that they're 3-point, which is, of course, the most safest seatbelts we can have. Nicely comfortable fit in there. We've got the armrest that comes up, so you can adjust it. So you can have the armrest, or you can quite easily put it down. And the seats recline by quite easy, just adjusting a button at the back there and comfortably go back. And the nice thing is that the seats are so far apart from one another that you've actually got plenty of space and comfort for everyone. We've got USB points so people can easily charge. We've got little baskety things in here, net things that people can put belongings in, like water bottles or books, so they leave them and read them. And really, it's around the comfort. So we've got televisions in most of our fleets. We've got air conditioning, great lighting, And as you'll see, we've also got toilets on most of them as well. And in this particular one, which is one of our newest vehicles, the toilet's actually situated right at the back. So as you can see, nice and comfortable, easy to enjoy. Most importantly, big windows so you get to enjoy the sights as you're traveling along. You know, these creature comforts are really part of the reason that our guests generally rave about our products. They rave about everywhere they go, whether it be a short break, a day tour, or a guided tour anywhere around Australia or even in New Zealand. You know, they get to enjoy the sights, the sounds, and wonderful commentary and stewardship led by our travel directors and our wonderful guide drivers. So now I've told you all about these wonderful vehicles. I'm going to sit back down in my seat, put my seatbelt on and get ready to go, because whether it's a guided tour, a short break, or a day tour anywhere around Australia or New Zealand, we've got wonderful product to offer. And I think the guests love the experience. They love the mix of itineraries that we offer. They love the breadth of product we've got. They love the experiences and unique features like the Make Travel Matter experiences that we include on trips. And they really are just ready to sit back and enjoy as I am. So you can quite comfortably let your guests book knowing they're going to travel having had a great time. So book with confidence, come on board our coaches, experience Australia and New Zealand like no other, and have a great time. So we look forward to seeing you and your guests on our coaches sometime soon.
All right. Yeah, and Ben's really tall, so you can see there's a lot of room between the seats. It's a very comfortable coach. So why sell AAT Kings? Because your clients are looking for a reliable brand to travel to Australia and New Zealand with, and we've been around for over 100 years. And your clients are looking for the best inclusions. We go through all of our guest feedback every year. We make adjustments to our tours. Our tours are really modern. They're all the best inclusions that we could have, dining in some really amazing restaurants as well, and good experiences, really good holiday experiences, really good value. We're from a well-established group of brands, the Travel Corporation. I know you guys have heard of them. And then of course our friendly travel directors or driver guides that are all local and from the region. And then how can you include AAT Kings touring when you're selling travel to Australia and New Zealand? I mentioned you could use us as an alternative to self-driving in New Zealand and Tasmania. Your clients are going to have much richer experiences traveling on one of our tours than self-driving. I've done it both ways, and I could tell you for a fact from personal experience that the richer experiences that I've had personally are traveling on a tour rather than self-driving. And then there are also immersive cultural experiences for guests who really want to understand the rich culture of Australia and New Zealand. Think of us as regional experts. We're national experts, but we're regional experts in those countries as well. And then for off the beaten path experiences across both Australia and New Zealand, we have them. We have over 100 tours there. And then again, pre or post cruise excursions, we are great for those, especially with those short breaks and with some of those shorter duration guided vacations as well. And then we recently surveyed a lot of tours across Australia and New Zealand, and people think that it avoids working with somebody like AAT Kings avoids the hassle of organizing their own holiday. They see us as the experts. It's a great way to budget for your trip, and it's a great way to make new friends as well. And we have a 4.6 out of 5 rating on FIFO. So really great tours that we offer. People love them. Right now, you can save up to 10% on select AAT Kings tours. You can book until April 17th for select travel departures through March 31st, 2026. And next, I just want to touch on our inspiring journeys and tell you guys what these are all about. So we've talked about AAT Kings. We're just going to transition here to inspiring journeys. So these are our immersive small group journeys. We use a completely different vehicle for these. It's custom designed, only holds 22 passengers with an average of 16 on board. So here's a quick video to show you about our inspiring journeys.
Kak mon maramongan ka.
Under the vast expanse of southern sky, raw, rugged, real landscapes reveal ancient secrets and unforgettable tales. From moments of awe, wonder, and exhilaration to deep relaxation, where serenity beckons and the enchanting light dapples and creeps. Delight in friendships old and new. Be immersed in the beauty of nature. Meet the makers and the creators. Indulge your senses with no detail spared. Inspiring, life-enriching moments are what we're made of. Remarkable travel. Inspiring journeys.
All right. So our inspiring journeys, again, these are small groups. This is an average group size of 16 guests, and it grants us the access to paths less traveled and lodgings that are out of reach for our larger groups on AAT Kings. And these are only outstanding experiences. Each special travel highlight has been carefully selected and seamlessly planned to create an immersive experience for you. And our journey directors that are brimming with knowledge, stories, and expertise, journey directors will provide captivating insights, allowing you to understand your chosen destination in depth. And with special stays, expect authentic and memorable stays, ones that deliver charm, whether it is a forest eco retreat or a riverboat cabin with spectacular views. And unique dining, from native bush foods to rustic outback dining and award-winning restaurants to world-class wine tasting, these included experiences will inspire the senses. And all of our inspiring journeys, which can be found at inspiringjourneys.com, these are all created around 4 pillars, which are immerse yourself in new experiences, indulge your senses, explore boundless landscapes, and relax and recharge. So that's what all of these tours all have that in mind. They're really fantastic. I definitely encourage you to check them out. One of them, I mentioned the South Island of New Zealand's been a hot place right now for our North American guests. And this is a new tour that came out this year. And on this Inspiring New Zealand, you'll experience the best of New Zealand on this captivating journey. You'll discover Franz Josef Glacier with an expert guide and cruise Milford Sound aboard the iconic Milford Mariner. Delight in gastronomic gems and savor delectable wines, all while relaxing, restoring, and recharging in some of the most picturesque special stays. Learn about Maori traditions and explore historic towns like Christchurch and Hokitika. Discover Marlborough Sound's pristine waters and experience serene accommodation nestled amidst stunning landscapes from remote lodges in Marlborough Sounds to the scenic Mount Cook Lakeside Retreat on the tranquil Te Waunui Forest Retreat. And then another one that's great for your Canadian guests is Australia's Hidden Wonders. This is another new one we launched this season. And this tour offers a luxurious journey through iconic Australian landscapes and experiences. Starting in vibrant Sydney, guests enjoy fine dining and guided tours of the Opera House and Art Gallery. The adventure continues to the Blue Mountains and the cultural heart of Uluru, where visitors witness stunning natural wonders and immersive cultural experiences, including a visit to the Field of Light art installation. And the tour concludes in Port Douglas with a cruise on the Great Barrier Reef and an exploration of the Daintree Rainforest. This journey blends culture, nature, and luxury, showcasing Australia's hidden gems. And so here's a look at where we go. Again, all those internal flights are included, but visiting Sydney, the Red Centre, and the Great Barrier Reef in the Cairns region, but staying in Port Douglas, which is 40 minutes north of Cairns. We stay there for 3 nights, and it's really fantastic. So I mentioned a lot about Make Travel Matter experiences throughout this presentation. And these Make Travel Matter experiences, they're experiences that have been selected based on the social and environmental impact that they have on the communities and those who experience them. And so by choosing an AAT Kings or Inspiring Journey that includes a Make Travel Matter experience, you can be assured that you're going to be contributing in a meaningful way to the people and places that you visit. And again, this is Maruku Arts, the Aboriginal art and cultural experience that we offer that gives back to the Ananu people that are there in the region, those 900 Ananu artists. And then another one that I really love, this is one that we give back to. In some areas of Tasmania, more than 80% of the Tasmanian devil population has been wiped out by devil facial tumor disease, which continues to spread through wild populations in Tasmania. So in conjunction with the Tread Right Foundation, AAT Kings supports the work done to create a vaccine to ensure that the population of Tasmanian devils can thrive disease-free in the wild. And so guests who are on select AAT Kings Tasmania tours can spend time observing the nocturnal behavior of the Tasmanian devils and learn more about them on our Devils After Dark experience. And so now, how do you book AAT Kings? So firstly, you can find AAT Kings on the Travel Corporation TAP portal. So that's something that just came about in the last few months here. So if you have a single sign-on with any of those Travel Corporation brands, you can log in and you'll see AAT Kings tours as well. We also have a North American-based reservations team that is available for your calls or emails, 8 a.m. through 4 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And I have those details just at the end here in a minute. And so again, single sign on there. And then if you would like to learn more about AAT Kings, about Australia, about New Zealand, we have a really fantastic agent training program. It's actually a podcast series that you can find on Spotify or Apple Music. If you do a search for AAT Kings A-listers, it'll pull it up. There's about 22 episodes with all of our team are featured on each, some, everybody's feature on one. I have an episode. Everybody kind of has an episode there, and you'll learn a lot about our destination. It's a really fantastic way to learn about us. We created this podcast series in conjunction with 2 Australian radio hosts that are really entertaining. So I encourage you to check it out, and I'll send the link to this in my follow-up that I'll do with you guys after this is done. And then, of course, we have all the social media pages. And here we are at the end. You can contact us at 866-240-1659. You can email us at reservations@aatkings.com. I'm always available. My name again is Margot Windenburg. I'm the Senior Sales Manager for North America. It's Margot with a T at the end, .Windenburg at aatkings.com. And our websites are aatkings.com and inspiringjourneys.com. So please check us out when you have some time. And please reach out to me with any questions at all that you have about our product or about AAT Kings, or about AAT Kings or about Australia and New Zealand. And so I am going to stop sharing now. We'll open it up for questions.
Thank you. That was so interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't like hearing about those little Tasmanian devils, though.
I know, but we're helping to work on a vaccine for them. So
Okay,
hopefully
good.
that will be eradicated soon.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for doing that very important work.
Yeah.
Okay, agents, we're going to go through questions, and then we have a prize winner right at the end. So if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box. Well, the first question is not a question. Someone is commenting, Margot, they love your glasses. Wow.
Oh, thank you so much. There's a website called Zeelool, Zeelool, and that's where I got them from. So there you go.
Wow. Okay, there you go, agents. Another tip. Okay, we have Audrey, and she says that she used AAT many years ago and that it was an amazing trip and her clients were very satisfied. So another piece of good news for you.
Awesome. Yeah, it is. We do have a great product.
Okay, can you just comment on where they can find all the marketing materials?
Yes, so you can access them on tap. I'm going to follow up. Basically, we have an agent toolkit that we just launched. It's not anywhere on any website, but in my follow up to you guys, I'm going to send you a link where you can access all sorts of marketing materials for that 10% promotion that we have, the 10% off promotion. There's also a lot of marketing materials in this toolkit with teams backgrounds, imagery, social media posts, things like that that you can use. And then also, if you do log on to our website and there is a trade area, you can log in there and you can find some materials in that area too.
Okay, great. An agent has a question about people with disabilities. Can you accommodate wheelchairs?
We can accommodate wheelchairs. We cannot accommodate scooters, the electric scooters, but we can accommodate wheelchairs. If a guest does have a disability, we ask them to fill out a special needs or requirements form when they book their trip. So we send that down to our operations team and they let us know if the trip is a good fit for the client, or they might suggest something else if it isn't. And also we just like to ensure that we can accommodate all of their needs as well. So yes, we do accommodate disabled guests. The guest does have to be travel with a companion who can help them maneuver on and off the coach. The coaches do have stairs. The travel director would not be able to assist them in getting around, so they will need to have a travel companion with them and or be able to board and disembark the coach on their own.
Okay, great. We have a few questions from Lida, which you might have already answered. She wants to know, what is the price of the trip? For which months are these trips leaving? And I'm assuming this is a no-brainer, but is the bus included in the trip?
Yes, so everything is on board our coach. The cost of the internal air, the cost of the coach travel, the travel director, touring with the travel director, the accommodation, the breakfast daily, and then depending on the range of the trip, everything's included in that price. And it will lay out pretty clearly what's included in that price. And it includes everything. So some really, really well-priced trips. And depending on what they're doing, I mean, our day touring, they'll start at about $60, like, and then they'll go up from there. And then those short breaks, they usually average about $1,000. And then the guided holidays that we do, they'll be anywhere, I'd say anywhere from $3,500 on up to $15,000, depending on what they're doing.
Okay, do you have options to fly to Kangaroo Island?
No, our Kangaroo Island tours, they are ferry each way.
Okay, and do you know Australia well? Because I know Kangaroo Island burnt down a few years ago. Is it alive
Yeah,
and
so
well?
oh yeah, definitely. So 2019, it was the bushfires. There were the bushfires that ravaged Australia. Kangaroo Island was one of those hardest hit areas. But since that time, 6 years ago now, and all of that, it really did rejuvenate all of that forest and the eucalyptus. Everything's back now.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Sometimes these fires are a fresh start.
Yes.
Is there kind of like an age group for these trips, or do you have like a average age that you can kind of let agents know what to expect?
Yeah, sure. So AAT Kings for our day tours and short breaks in any age we get everything from children on up to the elderly. For the AAT Kings guided holidays, I would say the first choice tours, you're probably going to get ages 50 and above on those. With the Best Buys, again, I'd say anywhere from 35 and up. Inspiring Journeys is a really unique demographic. It really covers all ages. I'd say anywhere from 35 and above. Actually, I'd probably say 30 and above. There's a little bit more, they're a little bit more active. You can be as active or non-active as you want to be. And it also is a premium brand. So you have people who really value nice brands, that higher level of touring. And we get across all ages on those.
Okay, Celine would like to ask, do any of your clients ever ask for rail passes as like add-ons?
I actually have if you are looking at a tour to work in conjunction with one of the Journey Beyond train services, I actually do have a document that outlines which of our tours work well with the departure dates for which train. So if you're working on an itinerary like that and you'd like that document, just reach out to me and I can send that over to you. So while we don't do the rail passes ourselves, those have to be booked elsewhere through Journey Beyond or through a wholesaler. We do have a lot of our tours work really well with Journey Beyond trains.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, the train's a great way to see Australia.
It is.
And what about arranging tickets for the Sydney Opera House?
So a lot of our tours will include a tour of the opera house, inside the opera house, going on tour in the opera house. If they're looking to do a show at the opera house, they'll want to arrange for those tickets themselves on one of the free nights that they're in Sydney.
Okay. And just in general, someone's asking, are there senior or child discounts on any of these itineraries or local tours?
Yes, there is a child rate for the tours. Inspiring Journeys is not a child-friendly tour. Those are all adults. For AAT Kings, though, we do have child rates available. And I think it's around I want to say it's about a 30% discount. Don't quote me on that, but we have good child rates for those.
Okay. Can you remind us of the visa entry requirements for Australia? Off the top of my head, I wouldn't think you would need a visa, but maybe I'm totally wrong.
It's an electronic travel authority, and you need them for entry to both Australia and New Zealand now. And so you need to download the app on your phone to do it. And it's, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory once you download the app, but the guest needs to do it themselves. It's not something we can do for them. It's not something you guys can do for them. The guest needs to actually do it themselves. If they don't have access to a smartphone, they're going to want to talk to a neighbor or friend or family member that has a smartphone. It really needs to be done through the smartphone. And then there's a small cost associated with it.
Okay. Are any of these tours heavy on the walking or hiking?
Not they aren't hiking, walking tours per se, but there are opportunities to hike and walk on them depending on which tour you're doing. Our Tasmania tours, for example, they'll go into national parks like Cradle Mountain or Freycinet, where there's going to be opportunities to do the walking and hiking along the trails that they have there. But if somebody doesn't want to do that, they don't have to. And so that's going to be the case if you're looking at our tours like in Tasmania, the Northern Territory. Some of our tours in Uluru are, the day tours. Some of them, if they're going to be walking tours, it's explicitly clear in the description that there's walking involved in the tour.
Okay, do you still do printed brochures?
We do have printed brochures, actually. And if you are interested in receiving a printed brochure, just reach out to me and I will be happy to send some out to you.
Okay, great. I'm not sure if you would know this off the top of your head, but are there any big celebrations or events in Australia and New Zealand that maybe people would want to plan around?
Yeah, so one of the bigger ones is Vivid, which is in Sydney. That takes place around March, April, depending on the year. There's quite a few, actually. There's also going to be a big motocross event in Darwin this year in September. And we actually have a lot of great packages that you can book around those if you have somebody who's interested in visiting the top end. There's always things going on Tasmania has a winter festival. There's lots of theater festivals in South Australia. And then New Zealand has quite a few festivals that focus usually a lot on World War II history, actually, but everywhere and you could find, if you're looking specifically for festivals or events, I would encourage you to look at Tourism Australia or Tourism New Zealand's website because they always have calendars there of those events.
Okay, great. And I assume you can fly from any city in Canada. Those arrangements can obviously be made, right?
Yes, and we have an air desk as well. So if you need us to book the overseas airfare from Vancouver or Toronto or wherever the person's originating from, we can organize that as well.
Okay, amazing. Well, that's all the questions from the agent. Why don't I give you 2 minutes to do, your most inspirational, pitch to agents on why they should book with you. But before we do that, I just want to announce the winner, which is Sophia Derrick. You've won the $50 gift card. So we'll be in touch with you to give you that. Congratulations, Sophia. Okay, Margot, your final sales pitch to agents. Wow them, inspire them. Why do we want to go to Australia?
Oh gosh.
Our crappy weather here.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. Yeah, so I would say, I would just speak to it on personal experience because I think that that's always the best way to really express to somebody how good our brand is and what we do. So I've traveled to Australia and New Zealand many, many, many times. And in my previous role, I would organize and lead all the familials that we would do 2 to 3 times a year. And so I came on board at AAT Kings and I experienced one of our inspiring journeys actually up into the top end of Australia. So that's that region around Darwin. It's a real hidden gem. If you're looking for something off the beaten path, this part of Australia is absolutely incredible. And especially for somebody who has, like me, who has an interest in Aboriginal culture, art, and history, that part of Australia is fantastic. So this is a part, like the journey director that we had was so incredibly knowledgeable about everything. So you would walk out to, there's over 10,000 rock art Aboriginal rock art locations across this region of Australia. And we would walk out to some of them. And I mean, the depth of knowledge that he had about the history of the rock art painting, the story behind it, the Aboriginal story behind it, I never, ever in a million years would have known this stuff if I was traveling on my own. And that's a testament to all of our touring, not just our inspiring journeys, but our AAT Kings tours as well. Because our guides are so local, they know all these spots they can pull off the road in and see these hidden gems. As another example, we stopped at the East Alligator River, and there was this location where all these Aboriginals were fishing and crocodiles were just going up and down the river, totally off the beat, like would never have known it was there. It was just a hidden place. And we just got to sit there and watch the locals live their lives with the crocodiles going back and forth. And in New Zealand, for example, I know there's a lot of like glowworm caves, for example, that people don't know exist. Like there's Waitomo up on the North Island that everybody knows about, but there's a lot of random ones also. And a lot of our tour directors know where those are. So there's all these little hidden secrets all over both countries that we'll take you to that you're not going to see if you're doing a self-drive.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. This has been a great presentation. I think the agents are all very excited to see what clients they might be able to send your way. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is great.
Thank you, agents, for spending your time with us. We'll have another Travel Week webinar next week or the week after. So everyone enjoy the day, keep warm, and, keep on smiling.
Thanks, Devin.
Bye, everyone.